Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Vincenzo Toscano. I'm the CEO of Ecomcy, and today we're going to be doing a tutorial about how to do listing optimization for your Amazon products. Okay, let's jump in. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. I have Amazon open here. The main product we're going to be using today for a listing optimization tutorial is going to be a baby carrier. So the main reason why I use this product is because, first of all, it's a very competitive product, so I will never advise you to do this product. And the main reason why I do competitive products is because, of course, I wouldn't want to take a product that has opportunity and make it public and then potentially run the market for clients or people that work on this specific niche, right? So we're going to start with a product that's very generic, and I'm going to teach you the techniques about how to do a listing optimization and make it right when you launch on Amazon. Okay, so let's start by, of course, looking for the product, right? So the first thing you always want to do when doing product optimization, you want to make sure you first identify what is the main keyword around that product. And why that is important, because you want to make sure that you find the main competitors that are going to be selling the most around that specific niche, and that's usually around the main keyword, right? On this specific product, of course, baby car is the main keyword. That's why we're here. And once you are here, I use Helium 10. That's the tool I use for all my keyword research, any kind of service related to Amazon. So let's get started by opening Amazon Helium 10 extension, and we're gonna use X-ray tool. So what X-ray is gonna do is gonna basically show us all the data regarding the pros on the first page of this keyword, and we want to select the top 10 products of this keyword. So why is that? It's because this tool basically is putting all the products on organic order. That means that's the organic rank on how they're shown on page 1. If they are showing there organically, that means they are getting a lot of sales through these keywords and not the related keywords to this one. So that means the top 10 competitors, those are the ones we want to focus around. Usually you're going to see at the top, it says sponsored products. We're going to ignore those because, of course, we don't want to focus on products that are showing on page 1 just because you're paying. We want to mainly focus on the products that have managed to get to page 1 organically, which most likely have the most reliable data, right? So once we have the advertisement products removed, we're going to proceed to select the top 10. Now, one thing that you want to do is making sure, of course, not just blindly select top 10. You also want to make sure that they actually relate to your products, because sometimes some products that might not be exactly what you want to sell could end up on this list, and that's not going to be very accurate when it comes to keyword research to then proceed to do your listing optimization, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to assume that the product is going to be this one, this kind of style, right? So what do we want to do? We also want to select products that have the same style and kind of features, right? So second one is very similar. Third one, it looks more like a wrap, right? It doesn't look like this one, that it looks like a more like a proper carrot, right, than a wrap. So we're going to ignore the third one. Yeah, the number 4 makes sense. So you see what I'm doing here. I'm trying to find the products that seem the most relevant to the product I want to sell on Amazon, right? This one is also very similar. And this one as well. This one as well. You see here we have 9, so we need to select one more. This one looks a bit too complex in terms of a lot of features compared to the basic ones, so we're not going to select that one. And this one, right? Once you have 10, you're going to run the keyword search tool. So this tool, what it's going to do is going to grab all the data on the on Amazon about which keywords these products are indexing for, right? Of course, you're going to see right now, once this ends up loading, it's going to be loads of data. So of course, it's impossible to account for all um, those keywords at the same time. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use filters. They're gonna be teaching you once the data is loaded to make sure we refine the data and we actually focus on the relevant keywords that will make sense for your specific product listing, right? So it looks like it's almost over. Good. Now it's loading all the data, and you're gonna see how we have almost 27,000 keywords. I mean, there is no way you can optimize a listing with that quantity of keywords. It's not really realistic. So what we're gonna do is the first filter I like to use is search volume, because you're gonna end up in here with keywords like this with 39 search volume, which means the amount of people looking for this is so low that doesn't make even sense. I mean, in a monthly basis, 39 people is looking for that keyword. So it's definitely not keyword to focus on. And I always start with around 250, right? So I start with 250. Again, this is going to depend a lot on the niche, because some niches, maybe 250 might be significant audience. But here we can clearly see that's not the case. We're still left with 13,000 keywords. So we need to clean this much more. After 250, I jump to 500. So realistically, I want to end up with around, I would say 3,000, 5,000 keywords like here. And then once I have that, I jump into the advanced filters. And if I see I still cannot get low enough, I go back to the search volume. Okay. So we're going to open now the show more filters. And the ones I use always is advanced rank filter. In fact, Helium 10 also recommend that on their tutorials. I think it's the most important filters besides search volume. So what does the advanced filter does? It's basically like an extra validations filter that is going to allow us to make sure that keywords that are repeated among the main sellers are also keywords where they are on page one, if you put the criteria that makes them focus on page one, of course. So I'm going to show you how. So you see here async minimum and async maximum. So this is how many asyncs as a minimum you want the keywords to be repetitive across, or a maximum. I always like 5, because as you remember, we were analyzing 10 asyncs. That means I'm focusing around 50%, right? Then this is going to vary again on the list and how many keywords I end up having, right? We're going to start with 5, and then rank, I want to focus on 1 and 35. So why 1 and 35? Because usually on page 1, you have between 1 and 40 slots. It depends on the category and marketplace, but on average, that's the case. And you have between 1 and 30 slots to be on page 1. So basically, translating this filter, I'm saying, tell me the keywords where at least it's being repeated across 5 of the 10 main competitors, and these competitors are on page 1 for this keyword. And why do I want this keyword? Is because if they're on page 1 organically for these keywords and it's consistent across multiple main competitors, most likely these are the main keywords you want to focus on anyway, right? So that's why we put that filter on. And you're gonna see once I apply the filter, it's gonna jump drastically from 3,000 to around 110 kilo. You see the massive jump, right? Once I do that, the last thing you can do is you can order by search volume just to see what is the trend. And you can see there are a few keywords that have 500 search volume. We still can keep those. And then, of course, once you have this master list, 110 keywords is still a bit on the high end, usually like 50 to 7 keywords a maximum, which usually what I do is I use the search volume, 600, right? And then I end up focusing on the main keywords, right? That are above that search volume. Or if I want to go a step even further, I increase my focus to 6 instead of 5, which is going to make the filter even more strict. It's going to focus on 60%. 6 out of the 10 products needs to have this keyword ranking on page 1. So once I have my 50 keywords, here I have 41 keywords, all right? What you want to do as well is also have a focus and make some manual cleanup, right? Because it's not good idea to just bind I mean, just use these keywords without even having a look at them manually, because sometimes you can end up with brand search terms or terms that are very specific that are not really going to resemble what you want to sell, right? So let's get started here. Baby 𝐬𝐻𝐶. So this one for sure is a brand. Yeah, Baby 𝐬𝐻. So we're gonna remove that. Omni 360, that specific model. So you wanna end up with generic search terms, because remember, this is about listing optimization. So you want to make sure you have phrases and search terms that you can add to your listing, right? And terms that most likely you can't, because they are either branded or features or models of other products that don't even resemble your product, right? So Lily Baby Carrier, this is also a brand. So you see what I'm saying? Basically removing anything that doesn't make sense. Infantino Flip, that's also very specific. And Ergo, that's also actually Ergo. I don't know if it refers to, yeah, Ergo Baby. That's a brand. Just wanted to double check. And Baby to carry accessories that generic, we can keep it. Baby carry, that's a brand from top rated. Okay, carrier, we remove this. Men's Baby from Baby, this also brand. And okay, so the one selected, we're gonna delete around 12 keywords. That means from 41, we're gonna go down to around 29 keywords. And what we can do is, if we want slightly more keywords, we can decrease this again to 500 keywords, just to bring the list a bit higher. And then we're gonna quickly just have a quick look at the keywords again, just to make sure we not end up with any branded, because we have now around 50 keywords, which is perfect, I think, to get started with. Beko Baby Carry, that's a brand. Again, I might be missing some search terms because I also want to make the video very efficient, but again, you get the idea. I'm just trying to remove anything that is related to a brand and that is not gonna be important for you to take in consideration when optimizing, right? Yeah, so you see very specific things that don't really resemble what we're gonna focus on. And now I think we remove around 25 keywords in total. What we're gonna do is, once we have this master list, these most likely are the most important keywords to focus on. And one thing I also like to do before jumping into my next step is double checking that you are using the right keyword in the first place. Because if you are not using the main keywords in the first place, what might be happening is that you're analyzing the competitors that maybe are not the best sellers at all, right? So what do I do on the main list of keywords? I want to see what is the keyword with the most search volume, which is Baby Carrier. If we go back, you're gonna see that's the keyword we're using. So that's good. That's a good sign. That means we're getting the main competitors for the main keyword, right? Good. Once we have this list, we're gonna jump to Frankenstein, right? So this extra tool, also provided by Helium10, is gonna allow us to remove the duplicates, right? And end up with unique keywords. We want to make sure we don't repeat any keyword, and we have everything as clean as possible before moving to the final optimization. So we do remove duplicates, maintain phrases, of course. Once you have all this ready, we're gonna jump into the actual listing optimization. That is basically where all these keywords are gonna be implemented to start all the listing from zero. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly open that. So basically, this next step, which by the way is a new tool by Helium10 as well, is called Listing Builder, which I'm gonna show you next, and it's gonna allow you basically to put all the keywords that we found from this master list, and Helium 10 is gonna tell you based on their data, of course, how optimized the listing is, what things you can fix to make it better, which is amazing, I think. So let me quickly open that for you, and good. So we are here again, and this is the tool. It's called a listing builder. As you can see, it's still in beta, but again, it's great because it's working very well at the moment. So I think if you can start using it right now, you're gonna have a massive advantage over other sellers. Okay. So as you can see, it's going to give you the option to import your listing. So this one is good because let's say you have a listing already on Amazon and you actually want to re-optimize, rather than as other tools that you need to type the title, bullet points, and everything so they can give you the analysis of the listing. This one can export it straight away. So actually that gives me an idea where we can actually analyze the Amazon choice seller. So let's take this ASIN, right? And let's bring the listing in, and then we're gonna use the keywords from our master list and see how optimized the listing is, right? So we're gonna wait until basically Helium 10 exports all the data from of this listing. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add the list that we found here, right, to the bank. So basically, these are all the lists we want to use towards optimization, 35 keywords. And you can also do things such as get keyword suggestions by using competitors. This more direct approach, rather than doing the steps I did, you can do it here. But I prefer doing my approach better because it's going to allow you first remove all the duplicates, do a very manual search, and then have the master list, which I think is a more accurate way to do the optimization. Okay. Once you do that, you're going to click next, and you're going to see how the tool import the listing from Amazon, and it gives me on the left hand side the words, the phrases that basically we should be using for our listing. And you can see also how they are highlighted in colors. So the red means the most important keywords, and then it goes into yellow, which is medium importance in terms of search volume, and then you have green, which is less, and then a blue, and then black. Okay, so you want to go in that order. So why that is important? Because you want to make sure that in your title you have as many red keywords and phrases as possible, because that's the most important part in terms of optimization. We can see that this person is definitely not doing that, which most likely is because he managed to get to page 1 in the early stages where it was actually easier, which in fact we can validate that straight away. Let me just see how old is this listing. That's a good important thing to always check when doing a product analysis. See how old your competitors are, because that also give you an idea of how long they've been selling, right? In fact, this is an Amazon. Yeah. So this is being sold by Amazon. That's why they are not really worrying about optimization. They're not actually always focusing around optimization, but you can see that's why it's not being fully optimized, which is actually an advantage. I mean, usually people is afraid when they're selling against Amazon in some categories, which in some products like this, where the product manufacturing cost is going to be difficult to compete against. Yes, that's true. But in some other niches, Amazon not always know how to optimize, which you can clearly see here. In fact, if you go down, this gives you a score. Is 8 out of 10, which is pretty decent. But again, we can still see that there are gaps that are open for optimization, and that usually happens with products sold by Amazon. So that's always an open door for you to take advantage. Okay. So now going back to listing optimization, what you want to make sure is that you use the red ones in the title. Then when you are done with the red ones, most likely you're going to end up with the yellow ones and the green ones, and those are the ones you want to be using on your bullet points and description, right? But before, once you start doing the yellow and green ones, most likely you're not going to be able to fit all of them in bullet points and descriptions, and that's where the search terms and subject matters go in, right? In here, you wanna put phrases um, and search terms that you were not able to use in the front end, most likely search terms that maybe don't make sense to be added in the front end, or even a search term in other languages. For example, in the United States, it's very good idea to put Spanish search terms because there is a huge community of Spanish speakers there. So you want to make sure you put search terms related to Spanish on the backend as well. And a final good thing regarding this tool when doing listing optimization is that it allows you to do subject matters. So subject matters is something that you're gonna find that most of your categories and products lately, Amazon within Seller Center doesn't allow you to edit. The only way you can do that is sometimes is with flat files, but again, most people don't know how to use them. So what I would advise is you use this tool because it allows you to embed subject matters in the back end. And actually, we've been doing testing with some clients, and we have found that keywords that you put in subject matter helps for indexing. So definitely, keywords that you put in search terms and your listing that you think that are very important to keep focusing on, and maybe you are not able to even cover in some of your section, use the subject matters for that. And once you have that, guys, yeah, then it's just a matter to making sure you cover as many keywords and phrases as possible. Then, as you can see, 𝐬𝐻 gives you good guides about how to keep it optimal. So in terms of the title, keep it under 150 characters, the bullet points, and then of course it helps you with the search volume, right? As you start optimizing your listing, which you can see a lot of the keywords are missing, that's why it's 0. You're gonna start Amazon is gonna start telling you basically what is the combined volume that you're covering out of the 35 keywords that we brought in. So you want to make sure that you're covering as much search volume as possible, because as you guys know, the more search volume you're able to cover, that means potentially more clicks, and that potentially is going to be more sales, right? So that's the end goal. And that's it, guys. So that's on a nutshell how you do listing optimization. Of course, this can become a bit more complex depending on the niche. Sometimes keywords are more difficult to find, or in some cases where the niche is very new, you don't have keywords to basically implement into your listing because you don't have the data. But in those cases, I always usually advise to do some research outside of Amazon as well. So you can maybe go to Etsy or Pinterest or even eBay or other marketplaces. I mean, there are so many marketplaces out there, and try to find products that are similar to yours if you think, or if you have found that in Amazon that product is very limited and they are not really good competitors to use as an example, and then try to implement that on Amazon. And then over time, you're gonna get data also from your PPC campaigns, and then you can re-optimize your listing, and then it's gonna become a snowball effect. Okay. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I know sometimes it can become a bit technical. So thank you once again for joining. Remember, if you guys have any questions, please drop them below. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you in the next one. Okay, take care, guys.